Hi guys, my name is Harry. Today in this video, I'll guide you to build a simple web app to update info about coronavirus disease. Actually, it is a serverless app. We only use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript as the client side. We will run this app without a backend. If you want to run this app right now, you can clone this repository. Open the index.html with your browser. Really simple. I already deployed our app to a server. Take a look at the project we will build. This is our app which are deployed to GitHub server. So how does it work? First, all dynamic data we get are statistics about coronavirus. I use JavaScript, AJAX to call APIs, then generate to a HTML page. The overview section is a summary of new and total cases per country updated daily. We have the number total confirmed, total deaths, total recovered, and total still active due to coronavirus. Next, the top 10 sections. The left table is top 10 countries with the highest number of people infected. Number 1 is the USA, and the right table is the 10 countries with the least number. I also use AJAX to render all these tables with the data updated daily. Finally, the search section. Wonder about your country, want to know the number of cases infected by coronavirus. Really simple. Type your country code, then click the button search. For example, I type US. It is the United States of American country code. Then hit the search button. We have info about the last 3 days in this country. I will change to EU, Russia. All the data is updated automatically without reloading our page. What if I type a random string? We also handle this situation with an alert message telling that we didn't find any result. Please try different keywords. So, what will you learn from this video? First, I will guide you to use HTML and CSS to make a simple web page. Second, I will show you the way to use AJAX to call an API. We get data, then generate back to our HTML page. Finally, you will know how to deploy this app to GitHub server step by step and really simple. That's it, a quick demo for this app. Let's get started now. This is an empty project which I opened with the ID WebStorm. First, we need to create a HTML page. Set the name index.html. Then a file to write our CSS, style.css. Finally, a file to write JavaScript code, ajax.js. We only need these files for this project. I will embed the CSS and JavaScript files into HTML page. For CSS file, we use the link tag, and JS file is the script tag, ajax.js. In the body tag, a container div is a parent div. We write other divs inside this container. The first div is the title for our app, then an overview section and the country section. We write the CSS class in the style file. With a CSS class, we start with a dot, then class name. The CSS property we write in the curly braces. I define the container, title, overview, and country class. I add 2 new classes, the red class to make a solid red border, and the green for a green border. To run this app, we simply open the index.html with a browser. I will change the style for our app. Right-click, then inspect. Choose the div you want to change. I add the red class. Press Enter to apply. With the border, it will be easier to estimate the width and height of an element. At the right section, click to Container class. Add a merchant property to create space around this div. With 4 values, merchant top, right, bottom, and left. Move on to Title class. Centers the text with the text align property. Set the size for the font to 30 pixels and bold the text. I rewrote this page, or CSS class are removed, so I need to update our code with the CSS property we wrote before. Make a space for container with merchant property, then increase the title size, center, and bold the text. I will set a background color for the COVID app div. Use the background property. I pick the gray. To use a custom color, click on the square. Pick the color, then click outside to save. I copy this color. Update the title class. Add the margin property, margin top, and margin bottom 10 pixels. I add 4 new divs inside the overview section. The first div is to display the numbers of infected people, then total death, total recover, and total still active. Update new CSS classes, COVID-19, death, recover, and still active. AH3 tag for the title. And move this block to the COVID div. With the classes have the same property, we use the comma, then CSS class name. We only use one curly braces for these classes. Add the width to 100%. I want to make 4 divs in a row, so in the div parent, use the flex property, then display as a row. A title for each div, then some fixed number. Reload this page. You can see we have 4 divs in a row. To make it clear, I will add border for this div. Use padding to generate space around an element's content. Set as the title. To make a space between two divs, use margin right property. I update our CSS class, padding the margin right. I add a border around the div and border radius to make the elements corners. Add the ID attribute for each div. The ID is unique and we need the ID attribute to use in JavaScript code. For span tag, to use the padding or margin property, we need to make it into a block. In the country section, a H3 tag for the title. We will make 2 tables. The first is the top countries have the most COVID cases. This is how our table looks like. The next step is to update our div with real data. To do this, you can search for COVID API. In this video, I use APIs from documenter.postman website. I chose this website because the COVID data is updated daily and they have well documented and easy to use their APIs. We will use the summary endpoint to get the total COVID cases all over the world. Open the AJAX file. I use jQuery syntax, document.ready function, or functions inside the ready function can run if our page is loaded. Use $.ajax, then pass an object to connect to an API. The first parameter is the URL. We use method get to get data. If we succeed, we have the data we need. Simply console.log to see what we get. Otherwise, console.log the error. Copy this endpoint and update this URL. In the HTML, we need to load the AJAX file. I already done this step before. Reload this page. We have an error. The $sign is not defined. This happened because $sign is a jQuery syntax. We need to load jQuery first. I will use jQuery online. Copy this script tag to use jQuery. Remember to load jQuery first, then the AJAX file. Try again with our app. We don't have that error anymore. At the Info tab, you can see all data we get from the API we call. A countries array for each country, 188 countries, and a global object to summary cases all around the world. We will set the data in the global object to the overview section. First, I will test the data about the number of confirmed people infected. Use a if condition to ensure that we have the global object. I console.log to see if we get this data or not. Reload this page. The total number confirmed is the same. Next, we update the number of deaths, recovered, and still active the COVID virus. I remove all the fake data. We update the div by using jQuery. Find the div by its ID. Then use the text function. Pass the data we want to set. Reload the page. This time, all the data display is the dynamic data we get from API. I will set a default value, loading, to show if the data still isn't ready. Use the locale string to have a comma separate the number. It's much better now. This is the array data for each country ordered by the country name. I want a starter array ascending by the total confirmed to create the table section. First, we need to check we have the countries array or not. If we have, I set the countries array to the data variable. I use the sort function A and B is to country to compare. We sort this array by the total confirmed value. Console.log to see the sorted array we get. Reload the page. We have an array sorted ascending by the total confirmed value. But I want to get to 10 number to the confirmed smallest and biggest. To do that, we use the select function. This function returns the selected elements in an array as a new array object. We select the elements starting at the given start to end argument, but doesn't include the given end argument, so the 10 element doesn't include. Reload this page. This time we have to sort the array we want. The next step is to generate our tables. First, create new table to save our sorted array, top smallest and top biggest. Then, with this data, we generate the tables. We need to set the ID attribute for this table, then set data for the table head tag. The first column is the number column, then country name, total deaths, and total recover. I will add some face data to see this table look like. Next, I will create the table at the right section. Move the table div to the new div. Then copy all these div to create the second table. Change the ID to table smallest. I also add CSS class for each table, top biggest and top smallest. This time we have two tables, but in column direction. I want two tables side by side. Click on the plus button to add new class. The flex property by default will set elements in a row. I update this class in the start file, the top table, then the top biggest, and top smallest. The table tag I use border collapse to set table borders should collapse into a single border. The table data tag I justify the text to the left in each table cell, then make a space with padding property. The hover effect will occur when your mouse moves over the table cell. I set the background color for entire row. You can see whenever I hover the mouse to one cell, all the row change background color. Next, I will generate this table by using JavaScript. First, create a function to generate the left table, then do the same thing with the right table. We pass a data parameter as the input. I call the generate left table right here. I init the HTML variable is an empty string, then look through the data array and increase the HTML variable. We use the backtick instead of the double quotes. Inside the table row tag is the data we want to generate. We will need 5 table data tags for 5 cells in a row. I use the index parameter to get the index of a current element in a loop. Use $sign, then a curly braces. An array starts counting from 0, so for number column, I need to add 1 to the index value. Remove these tags. The second column is the country name. We get the country name by the key country. The third column is the total confirmed, then total death, and total recover. We need to call the div table by its ID, then append new rows to this table. Reload the page. This time we have the left table, but we generate more than 10 countries. To fix this error, just simply move this function to outside the loop function. Try again. We finished the left table. Continue doing with the right table. We call the function to generate table right here. Pass the data to this function. Copy the left table, then update the right table. We only change the table ID attribute. I need to remove the fake data. The next thing I will do is to add CSS class to make all the text is in one line, not two lines. To do this, add a new class for country cell, display name country. With the white space no grab property, text will never grab to the next line, so we'll have text in a single line. I also set this property for the table head tag. I need to update the left table as well. Copy this class and paste right here. With the left table, I want the data descending. To do that, use the reserve function. The first array element becomes the last, and the last array element becomes the first. We finished the table section. The next thing we will do is to create a button for searching by country name. Add a new div with a search class, then inside it are the input tag and a search button. Remember to set the ID and class attribute for these dogs. The div result will display the data we get from API. I add CSS class for the new div. The input focus happens if we click or type in the input. It will change the input border to the color light blue. The cursor property will set a pointer cursor if we pointing over the search button. You can see if I click on the input and its color border changes. I add a new div for this session. Use the title class we defined before, search by country. Then update the input with a placeholder attribute. I want this title only have a background fit its text and justify the text to the left. I also update the overview title and the country title with this class, then remove the font size property. To handle the search button, first copy the ID attribute. In the main function, create a new function for the button. I trigger this button by the click event. Whenever I click on this button, I will have a message alert, click me, and the input file at the console.log. The val function to get the input file by its ID. I type USA and click the set button. If the button works, I will see the USA message at the console. Next, I create a global variable, a data summary array. We will set the country data to this array at the first time we call the COVID API when we load the HTML page. We need the data summary to use in the search button function. We will use the data we want without calling an API again. I console.log this variable to see if we get the data or not. I forgot to click on the search button. With the search button, because we only use JavaScript as the client side to handle data, so we're only able to search with a simple keyword. I choose to search by country code, a unique, simple, and short keywords. I create a function for searching by the input file. The filter function will run through an input array and find the element that fit the copy function. In this case, while an element has the country code, include the keyword term we provide. I console.log the result to see what we get. Call the file function right here. Use the data summary array and the input file. I will try with the USA first. We found this country. To find your own country code, go into countrycode.org, click on this toggle, and choose your country. The data we get only including 188 countries, so for some countries, we will have an empty array return. I set the country variable to get the result we have from findCountry function. Next, we check its length. I use another AJAX function to call APIs. Use the backtick, then update this URL. We search country by its log. The country variable is an array, so we only get the first element. I also change the URL to get data by country. This time, with the API, we get the data by country from the first day until now. I only want to get the last 3 days, so I use the slide function again. I will try with the USA. We get an array return for the last 3 days. Try with another country, Belgium. The search function works well. Next, I will update the list tag HTML, move all the list tag to the new div. Add the date title, then change the list content. Like what we do to generate the tables, I create an empty HTML string, then look through the 3 days array. Remember to use backtick instead of the double quotes. Append the HTML to the div start by its ID. We have two problems need to resolve. The first is that the date display is a date timestamp we need to convert to calendar date. The other is that if I hit the search button more than once time, we continue to add new data, repeated the old data. To solve this problem, first, before we generate data to the div, we need to remove all the old data with the empty function. With the date timestamp, I use the moment library. Copy this link to use moment library online. We include the moment library at the HTML page. Add a new script tag, and the @c is the link we copy. Then call the moment function. Inside it is a timestamp, the format we want to display for the output, month, day, and year. We don't see the date calendar. I forget to bring the $sign in this function. I create a date variable and set its value is the date we convert by using moment library. We also need to message the client if we can't find any result. I simply use an alert message. I add a new div info to display the name country we found. To deploy this project to GitHub server, first you need to create a Git repository. Go into GitHub, then create new. Pick your repository name, then create repository. Copy this command line to set the remote to GitHub. Use git init to init the Git repository at the local environment. Git add all files. Git commit the message init project. Then paste the command we copied before to set the remote to GitHub. Git push origin master to push code to master branch. Now our code is already on GitHub. Next, click on Settings option. Scroll to GitHub Pages section. The GitHub page will allow us to deploy a static page, a page without connect to the database backend. Select the master branch. GitHub will automatically reload this page. After that, in the GitHub Pages section, we have a link to access to our app. Follow this link. We get a status 404 on our file. To fix this error, go back to your GitHub repository. I don't know why, but with a shorter name, I don't have this error anymore. Go into Setting. Scroll to GitHub Pages to get the app link. I only changed the repository name and the app works. Maybe it is a bug from GitHub server. That's it. We finished all features for this app, a simple app to get updated daily info about coronavirus. Have a good day and don't forget to subscribe my channel to get the newest video.